Good evening. It is Sunday, May 1st, and I am cutting this close. It's 10 o'clock Central Standard Time for my Module 7, Word on the Street. Awesome customer service experience that I've encountered, not necessarily EMS related. I have to say that the one that comes to mind most recently is due to my EMS experience. I've suffered some back injuries, and I started to see a chiropractor office for specialty spinal decompression. Actually found it on Facebook, but when I went into the office, very professional, doctor saw me right away and put me on some traction and some flexion treatments. Was only there for maybe 45 minutes the first time, at most, and I had never seen anybody but the receptionist and the one doc. Second time I went in there was 2 days later, and as soon as I walked in the door, everybody in the receptionist area called me by name and said hello. Now, the three people that were there were not there the first day that I was there, but they all used my name, said hello, very professional, and that struck me as interesting, because most places you're seen as a patient or you're seen as a number, and so when you walk in, they're hello, hi, they go through the formalities, but this office in particular took the time, even the ones that weren't there that day, knew my name, and every other customer that comes in or patient that comes in, they're called by name, whether you've met them or not. And then that extends even back to the providers. And when I went into one provider's office, the one that I had seen the first time wasn't there, so a second provider came in, just as personable, just as professional, using my name, had read through the chart so that it wasn't a repeated, I have to explain myself again and again as to what's going on. He already knew exactly what was going on. He knew the treatment plan, he knew the course, and the things that were needed for me. So I didn't have to spend more time trying to repeat myself. So that was a huge customer service thing for me, especially coming from the healthcare industry and knowing that a lot of times when you move between care providers, that there's a breakdown of communication, and sometimes you have to repeat yourself numerous different times. So that for me was great customer service. Now, an example of poor customer service. Now, this was also not directly EMS related. Sorry about the camera. I'm trying to do this without a steady platform. I was working the night shift. There was this little restaurant in the town that we were working, and we work in sister cities. So sometimes when you work in one city, you have to respond to the next city. Anyway, this place had some really good food. We were, I was excited about trying to go there and get food. And we had placed a phone order. I don't know, it's probably like 6:30 or so. We walk in the door, and as we walk in the door, our tones go off for a chest pain call. I looked at the person behind the counter, and I just said, sorry, we'll be back. Handled the call. Probably 2 hours later, they were getting close to closing down, so I wanted to get there, wanted to pay for my food. And when I went in, a guy I later learned to be the owner yelled at us, dressed us down, saying that he had to throw the food away because we had left it and didn't pay for it, and he was now responsible for the cost of the food. And now, granted, I'm walking in now with my money to buy the food, and I did not ask them to throw it away. I didn't ask them to save it either, so to be perfectly fair. But when I walked in and he started yelling at us, I just about turned around and walked out. I tried to explain that we were on duty. We had a call that came in. It's not like I could just take, 2 minutes to pay for my meal, to turn around and then walk out. And so he was upset. I was upset. I did stay. I did pay for the food. They did remake it for me, which I was thankful for. But that left a really bad taste in my mouth. And as it turned out, I actually had some connections with a part owner of that company, as well as the person that handled the finances for that company. I'll just say that my dad was a lender for a banking chain, and when I told him about it, he knew exactly who it was. All in all, end of the story is he apologized. We ended up having a conversation later, not while I was on shift. He apologized, but the apology was forced. It wasn't something that was authentic. It was because it was going to negatively affect his business, his bottom line. So the prompt is what could you do to provide immediate service recovery? If the gentleman would have simply been understanding, and I've never asked for free food while I worked. I've never, demanded a discount for being in uniform. But immediate service recovery would be, to me, it would be apologizing, saying, hey, we had to throw your food away, but let us, we're going to remake it for you. That in of itself right there would have been more than enough for customer service recovery after the fact. Later when we had the phone conversation, a sincere thank you would have been, or an apology would have been more than enough for a service recovery. In a situation like that, is to put yourself in the shoes of the other person and kind of see where they're coming from. And I did. I could see where he was coming from, having to throw away food. But on the same token, to treat a customer like that, and to me, a customer that, I don't want to say that I have a lot of pull or a lot of clout, but to have a customer that, could either give you good reviews or bad reviews. So, to keep things from happening like that again, maybe there's, procedures to put into place. If you're going to do to-go orders, take payments up front. I would have paid up front. Not a problem. He was a cash-only business. He needed to get the cash from me when I walked through the door, and as it happened, just walked in the door, got a call, had to leave. He did end up getting my money. Also just recognize that some people, not just EMS, law enforcement, fire, other entities that may come into your business may be working and may be called away at a moment's notice. And to understand that, okay, you might have to throw some food away, but showing some great hospitality, and that hey, we're going to remake your food for you type of attitude, actually could probably benefit you more in the long run than disparaging or down talking to your customers. So those are my good and bad customer experience for my Module 7 word on the street.